What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. I'm back with Lawrence Portnoy. Now, you might remember Lawrence. He came on, I think it was about 8 weeks ago, 2 months ago, and he was planning on expanding to a second crew. This was a phenomenal podcast episode, one of our highest rated episodes. Such an awesome episode. Now, he hit me up a few weeks ago and he's like, "Hey, Tanner, just want to let you know we're on our way to 3 crews now. And I'd love to share my story. I want to get back on the podcast. I want to talk to you a little bit more." So that's what we did. And it's amazing. He's hit strides in his business. He's crushing it. And he wanted to share some of the things that he's done in his concrete coating business. I'm blown away. Love speaking to this guy. He's absolutely crushing it. So going to start it right now. Contractors all over the world are wanting more time, more freedom, more impact. The way we do this is through implementing systems, processes, standards. Welcome to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Here we hit business strategy, coaching, mindset, motivation, the tools you need for success. So strap in, listen up, and get ready to grow on the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Here we go. What is happening? I got my guy Lawrence back with Performance Floors and Coatings. So, little recap. We spoke about 6 to 7 weeks ago. You were getting ready to transition to 2 crews, which, in your space, which concrete coatings, that is not like transitioning to doing like 2 or 3 jobs a week. That's like adding 4 or 5 more jobs, which requires 10 or 15 more estimates. And it looks like you surpassed that. Really, man, bringing you on here first, want to talk a little bit about, what's changed since then, some of the action steps that you put into place. I know you're using Dripjobs, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But really, man, want to give you the floor here because a lot of people heard your story. Because in the house painting space, transitioning, adding teams is difficult. But in the concrete coating space, it's probably 3 to 4 times as hard because you just have to do so many jobs. So let's talk about that, man. How you doing? And of course, let us have it, man.
Thanks, Tanner. Appreciate you having me here. That's awesome. I got to give credit to a lot of it's really got to go to just having the right systems and processes in place. We've kind of aimed, and the goal from the beginning was to have multiple crews. We started with 1. The goal was 2, and plan to get to 3, 4. And really, when you have the right foundation in place, you have a good system, you have a good sales process, you got a good marketing team, you have a good CRM or system like Dripjobs, you can really kind of, gear that way, and it becomes a lot easier. It's really just developing systems and processes.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, when it comes to lead flow, you really can't let anyone slip through the cracks. We'll talk about that. But I think, of course, we'll get into Dripjobs, but for you mentally, I mean, as the leader of your organization, I mean, you had to take some risks, and I love talking about that because who you were before we spoke and kind of the uncertainty you have, it looks like now, like you'll break down any barrier after seeing what's possible in the industry. I mean, is that pretty much true?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not easy. We're going through a lot of ups and downs, but it all starts with having the right people on board. When you have the right people on board and you got the right team on board,
Yeah.
you can accomplish anything.
You have a salesperson now, right? You decided to bring on some help.
We did. We just hired a salesperson. Really, we hired another one that I'm going to train after, once this one's, rock and rolling. And he's good. But yeah, we hired a salesperson about 3 weeks ago, 2, 3
How's
weeks
that going, man? I mean, what was that search? What was that search like? I mean, how, especially in a growth season, most business owners would hold on to that salesperson role just because no one can sell it like you, right? I mean, so you have to give away a little bit of that trust. I mean, what was that process like?
So we actually hired a salesperson back in December.
Okay.
And we made some mistakes. I think it was more of, we hired somebody that had experience in the industry. So we kind of let him, start doing sales on his own without the proper training, which led to all kind of hurdles. So, kind of took a step back, looked myself in the mirror and said, listen, what could have we done different to help the previous salesperson succeed.
Right.
We took it upon ourselves to say, hey, the next salesperson we hire, we're going to go through the right training with him. I mean, we just brought Andrew on board. So before he just recently went out, he was going on ride-alongs with me. We really kind of showed him the system. He dialed into understanding what we do. He worked on the production side a couple times. Get to know the crew, even though that's not really part of his role as a salesperson. He still did the right training, knows what products we use, really just invest into the right time with him. You really can't just have a salesperson go out there and start selling on his own without knowing what they're selling.
Right.
But if you give him all the right tools that you need, if you train him, if you take him on with you, have him experience different things. I mean, you're in the painting business, right? You can't just go to one quote and all of a sudden you can get everybody quotes, right? You got to go out and you got to see a back patio. You have to see a back lanai. You got to see different rooms in the house, right? So same thing with coatings. One garage is different from another. You have to really dial into your pricing sheets, dial into, the way what we charge for, what we don't charge for, knowing how long a job takes. These are all training things that come into effect.
Sure. Yeah. And I think, it also has to do with making sure that the commission plan is in place. I'm sure even me as somebody that's hired salespeople, like that was a big focus of mine, was making sure that best and worst case scenarios were factored in. How did you come up with the commission structure?
Well, in terms of commission, we see something that, he gets a certain percentage of company generated leads, right? And he gets a little bit of a higher percentage for self-generated leads, right?
Right.
So that's
Smart.
going to give him the ambition to kind of go out and get his own customers for us. And the way we look at it is, hey, if we didn't get this customer and he wasn't our lead, we probably would have never had him.
Right.
So,
Good point.
motivates
Sure.
them to, follow up with the current customers, make sure that they're happy. At the same time, hey, call them, hey, listen, how was your install? Do you have any friends or family that you can refer to us? Right? Those are the best type of closes. And at the same time, he gets paid a higher commission on that.
Sure.
So, kind of going after his own customers. In terms of a pay structure, something that, he's comfortable with, that his commission is high enough to include driving to jobs and, understanding spending his gas, and all that. But, my job is
Do
really,
you do partial salary or is it 100% commission?
no, all commission. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I think
We,
some salespeople love that, man. They thrive off of that.
yep. So we're giving him a little bit of a draw, right? Because we're pretty, we're a little bit booked out, right? So it's unfair to have him go through, it's unfair to have him go through selling a bunch of jobs
Sure.
and not getting paid on them. But we give him a draw so he can kind of stay steady and,
Yeah,
keep
good,
going that
good.
way.
And these are all the minor details that come along with bringing on a salesperson that some people don't think about, right? You got to make sure that they're getting paid, even if you didn't even receive any money from their sales. Like, and I'm sure that was that first round of a salesperson that you learned. For me, one of the hurdles I had when I hired my first salesperson was we weren't as big as we are now, and we couldn't produce a lot of work fast, right? Like in the house painting business, you could lock yourself in a 2-week job, dude, and if he's in front of a customer that wants to buy but is on a time crunch, then he can't sell it, so there's this certain pace that you have to kind of manage at that level, where you're not only making sure that the salesperson has leads, but that the production can keep up with the demand that the new salesperson is going to put on the company, so that's interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like having a salesperson, when you have somebody out there selling your company and your business, it's big on having them manage, setting the expectations with the customers. We both know there's salespeople that will sell them the Taj
Right.
Mahal, and then production's like, whoa, wait a minute, slow down. This is what we can and can't do. So, that's a little bit of a learning curve too, and making sure that everyone's on the same page.
So let's talk lead flow, man. I think now that you have the big picture, I definitely want to hear, obviously not, I really want to hear your perspective on what Dripjobs does for you once you have a salesperson and once you're really trying to hit that stride in terms of like organizing all of these people now, all these leads that are coming in. You're probably getting what, 40 or 50 leads a month, maybe more.
More than that, probably 60, 65.
Wow. That's a
Yeah.
lot of
Well, we
people.
just we just upped our marketing budget, so we're planning for that third crew. But you do need to, really, you do need to marketing is the gasoline to your engine, to your company. You really have to, keep your foot on the gas and continue the momentum going. A lot of times people start marketing and then they stop, thinking that, hey, I got a bunch of jobs booked. But it's important to nurture leads that are, being marketed to, right? And automate them. And a lot of times, these self-booking systems like appointment links that Dripjobs offers, when you're really doing a lot of leads, you need a great organization, right? When you're getting 65, 70 leads per month, you have to have a good funnel system. You have to have a system that, where these leads can come in. If we didn't have that, we'd be writing on pen and paper and iPad notepad, to try and keep
Sure.
up with who we
Sure.
have, when they're up. So when you have your momentum going with marketing and you got leads coming in, you have to have a good booking system. You have to have an office manager that's going to take those leads, convert them into appointments. Once they fill out the booking form, schedule them for the salesperson, right? And in midst of that, be able to have a good system that's going to follow up with them if they don't sell them on the spot.
Yeah, yeah,
So
and I think here's the thing, man. You could ask me right now, name the names of the customers that I painted for last week. I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, there's no way mentally right now if you said that, and that's just 1 week ago, right? So, dude, I see a lot of people that lose out on a lot of opportunity. Was it eye opening for you when you finally had a pipeline system in place for not only your sales but your jobs? Because for me, even jobs that I've sold back before using Dripjobs, which has pipeline functionality, but I would actually forget to schedule some customers in for work that I've sold jobs to. Maybe I thought about it and I told them and they said, "Hey, don't schedule me just yet." And without something reminding me every day to get that scheduled, I would sometimes slip through the cracks. So, was it eye opening for you, like to go from like not having a pipeline system? Because to be honest, whether you use Dripjobs or not, like I feel like a pipeline system is a requirement for growth in contracting. Like you have got to have pipelines. Do you agree?
you do, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that there's definitely a handful of customers that we would have just forgot about,
Sure.
or we would have just, left them in, somewhere in it, we would have got their check and, kind of forgot all about them and would have left could run into a bad reputation there. But, you have to have something that's going to not even remind you, but have it in front of you,
Sure. Yeah.
that
And,
you
and,
can't
and for
skip.
the team. So you can
Mhm.
say, hey, these are the people that we still need to reach out to. These are the people that are cold leads that haven't converted yet, but we paid our money for. They're interested. They need to be nudged. People need to be nudged. It's
Mhm.
insane. And I see that more so on Dripjobs when we're kind of working on our sales process for Dripjobs more than anything. There's people that book demos with us. It's the same thing with painting, you know. And at one point or another, and this is just so interesting because I have such a really cool perspective on sales now, just because I this is what we do, man. But like from the painting side, man, we've created some sort of emotional connection between what their garage could look like, and all they had to do was press the button to see what the price would be. And usually that's where it starts, right? They want to see what it would cost to get this done, right? And it's the same thing with Dripjobs. Something might have caught their attention, maybe this stream or whatever, and they're thinking, oh, I wonder what my life would be like if I had a system organizing everything, right? And then for some reason that emotional intensity tapers off, right? And life gets in the way. Kids, family, same thing with our painting business customers. They start thinking about what the commitment's going to be. Oh, I got to pick colors. I don't want to pick the wrong color. I don't want to make a bad decision. Everyone is so indecisive. Not everyone, just the people that fall off the track and don't commit all the way through. And what's interesting is, man, these little nudges build confidence, right? Like, if I reach out to somebody who, booked a demo and didn't show up, it's like, hey man, I know you were interested, just so you know, man, we still want, to show you this software. You might really like it. I mean, there's a reason, what was that reason? And I think in the same way, I apply that same principle to my painting business. If I have leads, I always want to get to that why. I want to know why. What intrigued you about that Facebook post that we put out Did you like the colors in it? Are you wanting to sell your house? Like, what is that? And once you really start nudging people and starting to have these conversations, you realize that, you have to earn it sometimes, man, especially when it comes to these leads. Don't think that they're just going to click the button and book the appointment, right?
Yep, yep, definitely. Sometimes they just forget about it. Other times they look at it and they're like, oh, well, they're sitting at a doctor's office. They scroll down on their Facebook, they click the lead, right? But they don't want to take that phone call right now, or they don't even know their availability at that time.
Right.
But at least it gives them a booking link that they can look at and say, hey, when I get home to my husband or wife or whatever, we can talk about this. And why don't we book an appointment and, you know, kind of, focus on a good time.
Right.
And if they forget, hey, listen, the next day they automatically get a reminder about that link. Oh yeah, you know what? I forgot I meant to do that. Now, Mary and John are home and
Yeah.
they're like, oh, okay, let's book this. Now the other thing too,
Leads
a lot
aren't
of
leads aren't going like the way that internet marketing is working. It's not going away. Like it's
it's
just
not.
not. It's going to continue. It's going to get worse in terms of just like all these different things that pop up. But one thing that can happen, and I believe that I feel like I'm helping lead the way on this, is that we have the ability to combat the crazy with organization, man, and keeping things organized. Because like there's been times where I would sit down at dinner with my family and be like, oh my God, that there was a lady that called me today and wanted an estimate. I didn't even get back to her. Right. And right off the bat, like you're starting off a sales interaction, which could lead to thousands of dollars on a really bad note.
Mhm.
And that's not something that you would want to do, man. That's our livelihood. So all that rings true, man, for sure.
Yeah, I think another good thing about the booking appointment, when somebody books, you can actually pre-qualify a lead before they
Yeah.
come in by seeing what's their timeline, right? So you can see on the exact appointment link when they fill it in, you can give it an option to click, all right, 2 to 3
Yeah.
months, 6 months out, I'm ready to do it right now. So there you can build a sense of urgency and know kind of what to expect before you reach out to them or go out on the quote or book it. Um,
Important. Important. I
Very
mean, you can
important.
get as far as, asking the why. And I don't think, man, some people say, oh, well, you don't want to ask too many questions because it'll, create a drop off. But like, dude, if you're actually interested in a service, you're going to fill out whatever form is there. I mean, I'm not a big fan of that. I got a question that came in, bro. Let's answer this. What marketing channel generates the most revenue for you in the concrete coating space?
I got to say, if you're looking at the most revenue, it's got to be Google Ads, right? The problem is they're a little pricier. If you want the most ads in
Most
cost per
leads, you mean?
lead, lowest, Facebook.
Yeah, most leads, you mean?
Most leads has got to be
Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah,
Yeah, and I think it really I think that the cabinet coating industry and the concrete coating industry are very similar in terms of leads. It's mostly a commodity. You'd agree, right?
yeah,
In terms of concrete coating, the before and afters are super appealing. People
yeah.
want to see that. Like, everyone stops and looks at a beautiful. I mean, because you guys do beautiful work, and the people that inquire about that mostly, I'm sure you're filtering those out, but they're just price. Hey, what is it? How much is it? How much is it? How much is it? How do you combat that? Like if you're just getting a lot of price focused individuals, do you do your bet? Are you ever giving price or are you setting appointments? I think you're probably setting appointments heavily now for your salesperson to go do his
Right.
job. But before, was it more, hey, let me give you a ballpark? Like how is that transition? That's important too.
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of ballpark pricing, if a customer is just looking for ballpark and they're just, set and not make an appointment, we kind of, give them a range. Hey, it could be anywhere as low as $5 to $7, $8 a foot, square foot. So that kind of, I wouldn't say confuses them, but that gets them thinking, well, how much square footage do we have? Well, what's the
Right.
difference?
Right.
Right? What is it? What's the difference? Then you kind of give them a range that's depending on many conditions of your concrete.
Sure.
I think the other thought there was most of the leads that we get that book the appointment link are kind of pre-qualified, right? So if they're filling out the link, our thought is they're already taking the time they want an appointment, they want an in-home quote, they know it's going to be an in-home quote. They're not just looking for price. And that kind of weeds out the real customers and more of customers that are just price shopping.
Right.
Because if somebody that wants you to come out in their home, our thought is they're interested in knowing the process. They want to see, there's a reason they want you to come out and take a look at it. They're
Sure.
not just tire kicking and saying, hey, what's the price? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what's
No, that's
worked here.
good, man. I think education is key for the cabinet coating business and the concrete coating business,
Mhm.
because anybody can get the roller and the brush out and roll out concrete, right? And of course, we know what would happen. We can't assume that the customer knows what's going to happen, right? Like, this is our industry. We understand. We've seen the mistakes. We fixed the mistakes. Same thing with cabinet coating. If you have painters that go out that just paint houses and happen to just paint cabinets, that's different than a company that specializes in that and brings them to a shop and uses the highest quality materials. And I think you got to spend a lot of time educating, right? I mean, I assume that's the focus of the sales interaction,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you can't have a concrete coating company paint. It just, we're not, they can roll, a coat of epoxy down on the floor, but to get that crisp edge across a windowsill or something
Yeah.
like that, that's not what
Well,
we
that's
do.
why I'm coming down to train with you so you could teach me. I'm just
So, but yeah, I mean, the people can go out there and take their cabinets off, but they don't know the prep process that comes into place.
100%.
Um,
100%.
I think when we talk about lead nurturing too, a big thing, and we talked about educating customers, right? So you can't, when people think of a salesperson, they all of a sudden get turned off by it. They think, oh no, nobody wants a sleazy salesperson coming out there and telling them, like, what's, as if they're, you know, selling them something that they don't need. Everybody, whoever wants to get this done, right? I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. People obviously want to get this done, that it sells itself, right? Everybody would love a beautiful garage. Everybody would love to
Everybody.
have their cabinets finished. Who wouldn't want to have
Right.
beautiful cabinets in their house, right?
Right.
So instead of having the typical sales approach, when you leave a customer and you have these strips and automated sequences that come out there, they're not really salesy. If you notice, like, a lot of people
Of course.
think that it's all of a sudden, hey, what can we do for you right now? Hey, you got to get this done. It's just more of, hey, have you seen Barbara's garage? Look at the transformation. Have you seen the new cabinets in this lady's home? Check this out. And then you show them a before and after picture. That
Yeah.
sells themselves. That's a reminder without you
Yeah.
being pushy.
Yeah.
That may
Yeah.
get
Top
them,
of mind.
they're spinning their wheels. They're thinking, oh my, what if ours looked like that?
What would
Oh,
the feeling be like, right? Of like having this garage floor fine. Like, what would it feel like to have a clean garage?
right.
Like, what would that feel? I personally, like, I love garage floor renovations for that reason. It's amazing, and I think I'm an easy sell for garage coatings, but some people, again, they get, what I think the problem is, and if you ever run into this, which I'm sure you do to a certain degree, but not as much as maybe you used to, is that the quotes that they get are from epoxy companies that come in, or painting companies that say, hey, yeah, I can put epoxy on it. I'm sure you bring samples now. I'm sure you have a nice sample spread and all that. I mean, when you made those adjustments, which I don't know, did you do that out of the gate when you started your business, or did you start to see like, hey, I should probably start really investing in samples and displays and different things? Like, what was that look, like for you?
Yeah, it came naturally. It's you kind of see what works and doesn't work, trial and error. But you bring samples to customers and have them see exactly, feel it, see the texture, feel it, see the different options, right?
Yeah.
You put a sample piece down, a little 1 by 1 square, on their garage floor, and they're envisioning it,
Yeah.
seeing how it's going to look like when it's all done. Uh,
Sure.
but yeah, samples definitely, helped out a lot. I think, it's something that customers want to see it and feel it,
And you're closing on the spot, right? That's what you're teaching, of course.
yeah, that's when their emotion's the highest, and that's when a customer usually says yes most of the time. Um, but yeah, closing on the spot's very important.
It
You
is.
know,
It's good,
you
man.
you, you want to do that. You know why? Because, well, I'm sure you see that all the time. You want to get a reaction out of the customer, right? You want to
Something.
see, hey, was
Yeah.
this price too high? Like, if they say, oh, okay, good, we're good to go. Or if they say, okay, that's a little too high. So now you don't have to send the proposal and not hear from them. It's the price, right?
Yeah.
Or, you can see, what is it? Is the price? Are they happy with the process? Did you do everything? Are they going to tell you at that point, oh, okay, you're right in the middle. Oh, you're a little high. Oh, you're a little low. Oh, I've got multiple quotes. Oh, I want to get more quotes. it gives you that option to engage with the customer right after you give them that number.
Yeah, you
That's
lose that
important.
100% when you leave.
Right, right.
Yeah,
You kind of have
yeah.
control when you show them the price.
Now, do you have a system in place for your salesperson to relay that to the office?
We do. So we rehash, the following day. By rehashing is, Andrew will go out, do a couple quotes, right? And then we'll look at him the next day and communicate and say, hey, listen, was this a little high? Or what was the reason we gave him that number? Or what was the reason we gave them this number? And then from there, we can, hey, listen, text the customer, offer them a small adjustment if they want to do business. But finding out why we quoted that number and, what made them, why we quoted that number. Most of the time it's accurate. He's pretty good with it. But it's always good to kind of have a second person and follow up with the customer sometimes, or reach out and say, hey, listen, maybe we can save you just a tad bit just to get them
Yeah.
going.
So recently you put out some really nice marketing videos, man. You shared one with me. Phenomenal, man. What was that like? I mean, going out and getting a marketing company, how has that helped the trajectory of your ads? How's it made? I know you guys are using Service Legend, right?
Yeah, yep.
How's
So
it
we use
made their
Service Legend.
how's it helped them with your marketing as well by having a really good creative?
Yeah, so they're able to, a customer just wants to see the quick process in a 10-second reel. They
Right.
want to see what's going on, and you show them the prep process and you show them all the things in place, and show them what goes into the job. It automatically builds value, and you're educating them at the same exact time. I think that those ads very help out. We get a lot of views on a lot of them. And when people see results and see the changes and see, your wrap trailers in the videos, they see the process, they see the company shirts, they see all that in perspective. It shows them that you're a business that cares, right? You're
Yeah,
giving them a 20-minute rundown in just a few seconds of showing them
sure.
what you do.
And I think it's important, man. I think, concrete coatings attract to younger demographics too. I think, would you say that the majority of your clientele is within that 30 to 40-year range? Am I wrong?
Um, Down here in Tampa, with all the retirement communities, a little higher than that. I would say
Sure.
50s.
Okay. Well,
But
the Instagram marketing, like that's what I'm mostly interested in, because I feel like, there's a lot of opportunity on the social media channels for that sort of thing. Like, I don't think our retirees are looking at reels yet.
right.
So have you gotten a lot of bites on reels, or is it just good for overall branding? Like, what has that been like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really good. We use our Instagram and our Facebook more of an educational platform, as well
Okay.
as, ads. So
Sure.
even in the people like, that's in their 40s, 50s that aren't really looking at reels, right? They can refer to, right from the proposal, they can actually refer to your Instagram for color. So we tell them, hey, I'm not sure about a color. So what we do, oh, check this out. Actually, when you click on the proposal, we show them exactly where to go. If you click on here, that's actually our Instagram. You'll be able to see all kinds of different colors and different color garages and flake colors that you can choose.
Nice.
So what that does is that's going to send them to your page. They're going to go them themselves, and as husband and wife look at the different colors next,
Right.
together,
Right.
and see the
Love that.
videos at the same time, right?
Love that.
So even by
And then
doing
wait,
that,
what did you say the hack was to post on the story later?
yeah. So what we do is, oh, if you take a look over here, click follow right on the app, and most of the time they're awesome. Oh, this is cool. They follow you, and all of a sudden you start posting reels on your story, and that reflects as drips, right? You're not sending that kind of, you're not asking them for their business. You're not trying to sell them. You're just showing them all kinds of videos of what they do. It gives them a thought.
Right.
They envision things. They see the video of a transformation.
Sure.
They look at different colors. It's awesome.
It's
I
awesome,
definitely
man. I
love it.
love it, man. I love the strategy, man. And of course, I really appreciate you being on here, man, so we can talk a little bit about what's been working. Sky's the limit for you, of course. I know you're getting ready to probably get to 3 crews soon, which is like what, 15 jobs a week.
About
Um,
that, yeah.
about that. Goodness. That's awesome,
Yeah.
man. Well, I appreciate you, Lawrence, man, and bringing awareness like you've been doing lately, helping Drip Jobs get out there to the concrete community. And what you've been doing, man. It's awesome. So thank you for the recap, brother. I appreciate you.
Thanks a lot. You too. Thanks, Tanner.
Of course, man. Hey, thanks so much for checking out the Contractor Secrets podcast. Stick around. I am going to drop in a short testimonial that one of our awesome heavy hitters in Dripjobs had agreed to give out for us. So if you want to hear a little bit about how Dripjobs is helping contractors, stick around for the end of this episode and you can listen in. What's up, everyone? I'm here with Mark Bradford. Okay, first of all, let me start with this. You were one of the most skeptical people to ever use Dripjobs. What's changed, man? Do you like it? Was it worth it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is like the return on investment is like instant. As soon as you integrate it with the stuff that you already have in place. I linked it with my website, with
Nice.
my request a quote button.
Yeah.
And it's just every phone call that I get for customers requesting an estimate. I just redirect them to the website and Dripjobs takes over from there.
Love it.
So yeah, it's definitely been a game changer. I'm still learning some of the aspects of it. And I think it's great that there's new and updated features coming in all the time. So I'm definitely excited for the Google Calendar when that comes.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely made a huge difference.
Good.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was one of the things is because you and I had spoke before and you weren't sure if, because sometimes it might feel like Dripjobs is too big, right? Because I know that you kind of do your own thing. Are you still, solo?
Well, I do have a couple full-time guys and a part-time guy. So,
cool.
it's,
all right.
Yeah, it's, we're definitely growing. So we want to use, whatever's appropriate as we grow. And I think that
grow into
Dripjobs,
it. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's still some features of Dripjobs that I don't utilize yet, but that's just because I need to take the time to really fine tune them and tweak them.
Absolutely.
So I still use every part of it. It's just there's some parts of my old estimating process that work in tandem.
Yep.
So eventually we'll be merging that. Like I said, it's just, it's a fine tuning process.
So a couple things. You mentioned the booking link, and I just want to make sure you know this. I know you're directing people to go to your website, but we added a button on the bottom menu. It says new request. Have you seen that on the Dripjobs app?
That I don't know that I've seen that. No.
You got to check it out. So if someone calls you, you hit that button and you just punch in their phone number and it sends them the link. So you don't have to say, hey, go to the website. You just hit that button, put in their phone number, and then just like that, they get the link to fill out the form.
Oh, even better. Yeah.
So save a step there. So you've been using it now for, I think, 2 months. We reached out to you because you're killing it. Just curious in terms of you've been sending proposals. Have people been responding to the automated messages?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, getting onto the Dripjobs drips and getting to scheduling has been very quick. Honestly, most of the responses that I've been getting through the automated responses have been like just
after
because
you send the proposal, mostly
after I send the proposal, and so I've gotten maybe one or two where they were kind of on the fence and the automated email helped sway them over to the side.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, it's, a lot of them have been just, I go out, do the estimate, and they want to get on the schedule within the next couple of days. So
huge, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So overall, would you say, I mean, it's pretty easy, software can be pretty crazy. I mean, one of our focuses as a company is to like try to make it as simple as possible for you to get in, do what you need to do and get out. Do you feel as though like, it's pretty easy to navigate and use?
I think once you spend a good day and a half with it, it's, you can jump right in as long as you're, somewhat computer savvy. Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it,
so
man.
it's getting more user friendly, I feel like.
Yeah. Did you notice we started putting the lead sources there on the deal cards?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's just being able to see where people come from, right?
Yeah, and the customers have been using it too. It's great.
Yeah, well, we force them to. on that form.
I wondered because it just started all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, word of mouth. Cool.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Okay.
And you know what? Generally, people are really honest on there, which is cool. You know, it's not like, you know, they just like pick whichever one. Because I'll kind of follow up. So I'm like, how'd you hear about it? Just to see if they lied. You know, it's like, all right, that matches with what you put. It's like, I got data that I need to look at, lady. So make sure you're correct here.
Right.
No, that's awesome, man. So just last thing, man, I always like to end with this on one of these is you were on the fence more than, like I said, anyone. I think you tried it and then you didn't use it. And then I think Mike gave you a kick in the butt. And I was like, dude, give it a try. We sat down. If you if you could talk to somebody that's on the fence, maybe just doesn't have a good system or has their own system and they're thinking about Dripjobs, what's one thing you would say to them, you know, to sway them?
I would say, I mean, you're not locked in, you know, and it, like I said before, the return on investment's immediate. If you have if you can present yourself well to the customer, Dripjobs will do the rest. Boom. That's it. You know, keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Mark, you're the man. Continued success for you, my friend. I see that you're growing, and I think it's only up from here. I appreciate your time, man. This was 100% voluntary on your part, bro, and it means a lot. You took time out of your day to do it. So thanks, man.
Thanks a lot, Tanner.